This news update is brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Catch the sun power.
This is the Noon Barbados Today update for Thursday, February 13th, 2014. I'm Dawn Paris. Two non-nationals are to face charges in connection with the reported multi-million-dollar robbery at Sandy Lane. But it will be the man and woman who made the report who will be going before the court. Sources tell Barbados Today investigators have discovered that no robbery ever took place and the two were allegedly involved in a scam. Fraud charges are expected to be laid shortly. When contacted, Police Public Relations Officer Inspector David Welch said he could not speak to the matter at this time. The umbrella body for trade unions says it's too late to turn back on job losses and the government must now focus on its social responsibility to Barbadians. General Secretary of the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, Dennis DePisa, says it's time now to focus on what happens to workers who are on the breadline.
Because unemployed people who cannot be absorbed within the labor market are going to become dependent a lot on the state, and the state inability to respond to their needs is going to create a further crisis for us. So I am saying to you that we recognize, hey, there is a problem, but do we exacerbate the situation by going down the road that we are charted without taking cognizance of the severe impact it can have in both the short and the long term?
DePisa opted not to comment on the fact that government had given the IMF up-to-date information on the number of public sector workers who've gone home. The unions are still waiting, but the IMF is reporting that government had informed that 1,800 went home by the end of January and 1,200 more will go by the end of March. A suggestion that the powers that be need to take a closer look at how the central bank is being managed. It's coming from economist Ryan Strawn. He says having both government and the central bank financially vulnerable can lead to disaster in the financial system.
The central bank itself is perhaps in a state of disarray as well, simply because that institution the management of that institution I think has faltered, and even to the extent where the central bank may also need to be recapitalized. And if you're in a situation where the government is struggling financially, as well as the central bank itself, even though it's physically printing money, it is really not a good sign for the management of the economy.
In sports now, while the West Indies may not be the winning side it used to be, but a marketing expert says it's still an international brand. Calvin Hope says sponsors are still interested. And he says it's the style and flair of the Caribbean boys that's making a huge impact. The former vice president of marketing at the Barbados Tourism Authority says West Indies cricket was a brand with a global reach, and it's the perfect tool for companies to promote their image in the region or internationally.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Catch the sun power.
Anti-government protests in Venezuela have turned deadly. 3 people were killed and nearly 24 injured when protesters clashed with police. Internationally now, in the U.S., at least 12 people are dead and more than 500,000 residents are without power in the south after a winter storm, which is now heading up the east coast, barreled across the region. More than 4,700 flights were also cancelled across the U.S. The storm had begun its march up the east coast this morning in New York, Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C. It's expected to dump snow at a rate of 2 inches per hour. And that's been the noon update. Join us again at 6 this evening. Until then, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, and like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. I'm Dawn Paris.
This news update is brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.